Couple more seconds, guys. We're doing YouTube Live. All right, everybody. Couple more seconds, guys. We're doing YouTube Live. All right, everybody. Couple more seconds, guys. We're doing YouTube Live. All right. All right, everybody. Couple more seconds, guys. We're doing YouTube Live. Okay. Just getting all the logistics straightened out over here. And share my screen. Boom. And now we're recording. All right, so we're gonna get started. I appreciate everybody's patience, trying to get all this live streaming stuff taken care of the right way so we could share all this information and all this knowledge to everybody in the industry. So we're gonna be simultaneously, it's the first time I'm ever doing this, so I'm simultaneously live streaming to the Millionaire Car Salesman group, which has got about almost 10,000 members. And then my Facebook channel, my YouTube channel, which is Sean V. Bradley TV, has got over almost 12,000 subscribers. So we're now over 20,000 plus people are going to be plugged into this. So we're going to focus on VIN solutions for showroom sales and daily operations. Yesterday, I did a webinar that basically was focused on how to set up the CRM, how to set up, VIN solutions. Now, today, what I want to go into is how to actually use VIN solutions the right way in showroom sales capacity. So I want to just go through one quick thing first, because this is like to me, I think a very important tip. All right, so let me switch this camera over here. Okay, so in VIN, right? What I would say, and this doesn't happen a lot, but I would say that every salesperson should go into this section, and you're not going to have access to this, guys. All right. So what happens is when you get set up in VIN, you're going to have certain permission access levels, based on you being a sales consultant, etc. Now, most people don't get into this part of it at all, but I'm telling you, you need to know what your process is from the CRM. Now I'm going to go into, and I didn't really spend a lot of time on this yesterday. I went through a whole bunch of different processes, but since today is just about the showroom, I'm going to give you all what my showroom process protocol is. Okay. And I'm going to slowly go through it. So if somebody comes into the dealership and they don't buy a car, obviously that's called a B-back, or technically it's called an unsold showroom prospect, an unsold showroom prospect. So in VIN Solutions, this is how you find where that's going to be. It says showroom visit follow-up right here. So in showroom visit follow-up, these are my dealer synergy processes. We put a lot of different processes in there. That's not for this webinar. I'm going to focus on the one that's for the sales consultant. Now, if there's any managers that are watching this, the challenge though, and this is important to understand this, is that a lot of the salespeople are never taught what the exact process is. That might sound redundant, but what you need to do, if you're a general manager or dealer principal, first and foremost, you should know what each and every one of your actions are. Again, what each and every one of your actions are that are in here. Now, the reason why this is super important is because if you don't know, how are you going to identify if your salesperson knows or doesn't know the process? The other thing is that if you truly want to have CRM utilization, if you want to have CRM comprehension and those type of things, what I would say is really important is that you want to make sure that not only do they know how to do it, but they understand it and they buy in. I'll start with the very first, action here. So let's just use a scenario. Karen Bradley, she's in the market obviously for a car, right? So let's say Karen Bradley is looking at the 2019 Lexus RX. So she just left the Lexus dealership. If I'm the sales consultant, let's see what the CRM says. Very first thing is to send her, if we have opt-in permission for text message, send her a thank you video text message. Personalize it. If you don't have like opt-in permission for text messaging, then send her a video email thanking her for coming in. So I'm going to kind of demonstrate really quick here with my cell phone. And as you all could see that's on the webinar, I have a tripod and all that stuff. So I'm going to flip this around this way. So let's just pretend that Karen just left the dealership. As a salesperson, what I'm going to do is I'd probably use this exact rig here. All this is a tripod, right, on a iPhone mount, and there we go. So let's say Karen just left. I might say I would first of all do this, if possible, to the exact car that I just test drove with Karen. Or right, what I would do is, if I didn't get a chance to do a test drive, because she had, she left before I could do a test drive, or, that wasn't part of the plan that day, I would go to the exact vehicle that she was looking for. I wouldn't just go to the convenient one that's on the showroom floor. I mean, if Karen came in looking for a pearl white Lexus RXL, for example, I would take the freaking couple minutes out of my time and go and get a white one, from inventory, or God willing, there's one that's on the showroom floor. And then I would do something like this. So either to the exact vehicle you just demoed her with, or if you didn't get a chance to do a demo or test drive or anything like that, go find the exact one. I would, again, take my little tripod thing right here and say something like this. Hey, Karen, Sean Bradley. I wanted to thank you so much for coming into ABC Lexus today. I really appreciate the opportunity to get to meet you and your family. And I gotta tell you, you have impeccable taste. The 2019 LX RXL is one of our absolute best sellers. And again, just want to go over a couple things that were important to you that we discussed. And then I would take my little tripod and I would go literally around the Lexus. Now, for real, what Karen liked about it, because we just went to the dealership the other day in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and she liked the third row. So I would actually start with the feature that she liked the most and say, Karen, I know that you're comparing this against the 2019 Lincoln Nautilus. That is a nice truck, but to your point, this is, not only a comparable truck, but with the third row, I mean, it blows the Nautilus out of the water. Now, a couple other things that you had said to me that were really important were the fact that the Lincoln Nautilus was really nice on the outside, but the inside, it was more like a Ford, where on the interior of the Lexus RXL, it was more luxurious. And then I would be utilizing the camera around the points, whether it's high, whether it's low, all that stuff. Now, what's going to be kind of awesome about that is once I'm done with this quick video, right? What I can do is now go into Vin and send them a video email or video text message. However, I want to show you something over here with my, into here. So if I go into Chrome, right, and I'm going to go into Gmail for a second. What's kind of cool with Chrome is you see this right here. I have the ability for BombBomb integration, okay? And I believe you could do that with Co-Video as well. So if you guys see this up here, that's in the Millionaire Car Salesman's group. So with Gmail, so you don't have to necessarily do a video with, with this camera, okay? So you don't have to do it with your iPhone or anything like that. You can, if you set up your Gmail the correct way, or if you have a web camera, you could create that video and send it out that way. But either way, one of the process points that I'm trying to get to you guys to understand is video is super, super, super important when you are going to try to communicate with your prospects. Why? I'm going to source for you a couple things right here. All right. So when we go to Google, I type in 1 minute of video is 1.8 million words. Okay, this is kind of cool. So Dr. McQueevy from Forrester Research says that 1 minute of video is equivalent to 1.8 million written words. Okay, so again, 1 minute of video is equivalent to 1.8 million written words. So if a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Think about this. The average video shoots at 30 frames per second. And now we have cameras that, shoot at 60 frames per second, but just saying, 30,000 words, per second, and there's 60 seconds per video, that equals 1.8 million words per minute. Now, it's not just random video, folks. If you have sight, sound, motion, and emotion, right? That's why videos are so, powerful. The other thing is this: what you're trying to do with the be back, obviously, is to get them to come back to the dealership. And again, for me, I'm going to tell you this right now. I've been doing automotive internet sales for 20 years straight. And I was very successful. I used to average 30 plus units a month on the showroom floor when I sold cars. And when I ran my internet department, I was delivering 110 units a month out of my internet department. And that was back in 2002, 2003, when 100 units a month out of an internet department was surreal. And my point being is that we have over 50,000 automotive professionals, managers, and owners that I've personally trained, and 1,500 rooftops. So we study this, and the dealers that are embracing video email and video text message are receiving profound results. So stop using in your CRM and in your follow-up, regular antiquated, forms of communication. A text or an email is only 7% communication medium. So now, I'm just trying to build value into why I have this here. So again, as soon as the prospect leaves, right, as it says here, as soon as the prospect leaves the dealership, you want to send them a video text message, or you want to send them a video email if you don't have an opt-in permission. And then the thing I'm going to read is this: the prospect just left your dealership and is a generic unsold showroom traffic, AKA be-back protocol. The second that the engagement has happened, the automatic action plan activates. Tasks will stop and will now be on a manual effort. So pay close attention and make sure you also change the status to be back engaged. So I'm going to share this with you right here so this will make sense. Now I'm going to go to the visit log. Okay. So I might not have a prospect in here to use, but I'm going to go back like some months. There might be now, because this is not obviously a real dealership's account. It's not gonna let me. I already ended the visit. So I'm gonna jump into one of my stores that I know will be okay with me doing this real quick. Okay, so now when the manager ends visit, right? So if a manager ends visit, hopefully I have somebody in here. Okay. So let's go to yesterday. There we go. So I want the salespeople to understand how this goes. So if we end visit, right? This has already been ended, so I can't do it, but I want to just at least show you kind of what this looks like. So what the desk manager and what the sales manager, whoever is running the desk, what's going to wind up happening is whenever they have to end a visit, see in VIN where it says end visit. Now this one has been sold, so I can't turn around and do anything with it. None of these. But what there's a question that says here, was the car, did you sell the car, yes or no? If you turn on and put no, it's going to ask, right? It's going to ask, you see how there's a drop down? Well, there's another drop down that says, why didn't they buy? Okay, it's going to say, why didn't they buy? And a drop down is going to go through. And it's going to drop down the following things. It's going to drop down, and that's over here for you guys. You can't see that in the group. So again, and so if you are a salesperson, you probably have never seen this screen before, but this is what the manager sees when they end a visit. In this section right here, if they end a visit, this is going to pop up over here, this screen, and it's going to ask you the question, have you sold the car? If you say no, there'll be a drop down. I can't show you that because this has already been disposed. So there'll be a drop down like this, and it's going to say, well, why didn't you buy? If you put, there's going to be price, financing, trade, other, and it's going to be vehicle. Now in VIN, these drop downs are tied directly. I'm gonna go back to mine real quick. They're tied directly to the processes. Okay, folks, so they're tied directly to the processes. So now watch. So when we go in here, depending what the manager puts in as an end visit is going to dictate what process is going to trigger. So if the manager puts over here, like other, which is what they should do in dealer synergy, almost all of them should be other, then it's going to trigger the standard dealer synergy, process that we were just working on. If they put one of the other ones, it's going to go into one of these other categories. Let's not get distracted with that. Let's go here. But I'm just showing you this because it's very rare that a salesperson ever gets taught how and why and what is popping up in their tasks. And managers, that's one of the reasons why people don't use the damn system, is because they don't understand the reasoning, the psychology, the strategy, and whatnot. So there's that. So after it tells you that, the next thing is this. It's going to say change status to be back will run immediately. Okay. So what's going to happen is that once a prospect leaves the dealership and they are put into the status of other, it's going to trigger this. That's on the VIN side. But on the dealer synergy side, what we programmed it is that we want the status to say be back. So this is the be back protocol. Now watch this. This is important. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I'm going to go into this. Update records. Okay, 1 minute after the person leaves. Now this is kind of getting dragged out because I'm trying to train you, but let's rewind from the beginning. The prospect just left. Karen Bradley just left after looking at the RXL Lexus. It's going to immediately fire that, hey, salesperson, send them a video. Thank you for coming into the dealership, text message or video email if you don't have opt-in. Then it's let you know, listen, it is now going to be in the be back protocol. It's going to say, it's going to change automatically to the be back status. Then the next task is going to be, it's a generic task, is going to say, update details, spouse, feelings, thoughts, birthdays, kids, etc. triggers. Now, I'm going to put this on me so you all understand where I'm about to go with this. All right. So this is important. This is very, very, very important, because this is what I think a lot of salespeople miss, is the fact that this is still a relationship business. Car sales is all about relationships. If you get somebody to like, trust, and believe you, they will buy from you. Again, if you get somebody to like, trust, and believe you, they will buy from you. And so for me, watch, I'm now going to go into the CRM and I'm going to go into my leads. Okay, so now I'm going to put this back onto you guys here to see this. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go into my dashboard and I'm clicking leads right here. I only have one lead in here because it's not a real account. So this is just a demo, right? So as you see this, let's go through here. So how do you put that information in? Before I turn around and show you where you put that information in, what I want you to be able to understand is what type of information do you put in? So let's just say I was a salesperson and Karen came into the dealership. Now, Karen's a very personable person. She's a very sweet person, not just because she's my wife, because she is. And so she's probably going to, talk and have conversation. And if the salesperson is good, or at least basic, and I'm hoping that's the case if they're at a Lexus dealership, then they're going to start asking qualifying questions like during the qualification process, the customer engagement process when she walks in. And so they might ascertain that there'll be some information that's gathered, whether it is about her reasons why she's looking at an RX instead of like a GS or something else. Karen, just so I know, what drew you to the RX? Oh, well, because we're actually terming a lease on a minivan, and I don't want to be a minivan mom. My son is 5 years old now, and our other kids are driving now and have their own cars. So we don't have to have the minivan, but we definitely want to have the SUV for the 4x4 and the space. Perfect. So now I'm getting this in there. So I heard that she's got multiple kids, and ding, 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 I know that a couple of them are driving and have cars. This is great field intelligence. Then as I'm qualifying the prospect further, do you live local? Yes, and boom. And then, if there's conversations, I'm just going to profile my wife. Again, she's really big into fitness. Like she's a huge fitness person. So she's always going to the gym early in the mornings, this, that, and the other thing. She lives in New Jersey, but we have family in Pennsylvania. And so there's snow in New Jersey, there's snow in Pennsylvania. So definitely the SUV is great. She's got family in Pennsylvania now too, not just New Jersey, Pennsylvania. Who's out in Pennsylvania? Oh, her dad, her sister. Boom, her sister owns a business out there. And so through conversation, I could do a whole webinar just on qualifying. But my point is, through qualification and conversation, I'm going to be able to get a lot of field intelligence. I'm going to be able to get a lot of information from the prospect. Now watch, what I'm able to do is this right here. So let's just use this like for real. Okay, so Vin Solutions has the ability, I'm going to show you how I just did that. Okay, so how did I just do that? It's simple. I go to the prospect name, and then it brings up the prospect screen. And so to keep this here, I'm going to switch this for us. I'm going to put Karen Bradley. There we go, right? So Karen Bradley and Medford, New Jersey. That's here. Let me just put that in here. Okay, so there you go. So Karen Bradley's in there, right? Now, look at the items that Vin allows you to put in here, right? Look what Vin allows you to do in the customer screen. If I elaborate on this, I could turn on, obviously put the phone number in here, but I also have, the white pages or the reverse lookup. Okay, so I have the ability to do a reverse lookup based on address, phone numbers, those type of things. But I have the ability to put email, alternate email, ultimate phone numbers. In addition to that, this is really important, preferred method of communication. And the things that Vin allows you to pick is day phone, evening phone, work phone, home phone, pager, work email, home email, regular mail, text, SMS, other, and NA. And so, I mean, like that is really awesome, because with this, I'm able to really customize the information that I have on this prospect. Now watch what else that I have here. Customer notes, I'm gonna go back to, but spouse information. I know that her spouse is Sean, that's me, Sean Bradley. Okay, then I know Karen's birthday is April, folks, April 13th, which is Dealer Synergy's birthday. And I didn't put in the year, but it's there, April 13th. And then anniversary, if I was a good salesperson, I would have identified that it is August, right? And then it's the 20th. And if I wanted to, obviously I could go to the proper year. I'm just trying to train you. So we got married, this will be our 10-year wedding anniversary this year. And Karen didn't, she's obviously born. So April 13th didn't happen yet, but just showing you as an example here. Gender for her is obviously female, married, is there. I mean, do you see this there? Even has married, divorce. Why? Why would Vin have this hard coded? This is not just me. I'm just teaching you and going over what you should be utilizing in here. Now, if I ask Karen, what is the best form of communication? Watch this. Karen, she's right over there. What is the best form of communication for you, honey?
Text message.
I knew it. So Karen is a huge texter. Me, I like talking on the phone personally, and I like Facebook Messenger, but Karen is huge, huge on texting. And so this is really strong to be able to have this. Now, this is the big part right here. And the thing that I think is the most valuable for Vin and for any CRM is to be able to put the customer notes in. But when you put the customer notes in, you want to be able to use the hashtags on here. So as a salesperson, this is really important. I don't have access to like a ton of leads. Even if you've got a lot of, fresh ups that go to your dealership, you're not getting or guaranteed to get all of them yourself. So what you want to be able to do is customize Vin Solutions, customize your database to be able to work for you. I used an analogy yesterday when I was explaining this, that, if you go to a bank and you want to withdraw money from the bank, Well, you have to deposit money into the bank. Well, if you want to turn your CRM into an ATM, what you need to be able to do is know you have to deposit the value and the equity into this. So right here, I'm going to put stuff that's for Karen. So I'm going to put hashtag married, because hashtags are a thing in Vin Solutions. When I tell people this, they're shocked that they had no idea. So married, I would say, let's just say, she's hashtag parent. She's a parent. Hashtag, has toddler. Has toddler. Okay, wife, female. Okay, and I'm just giving some. Workout. I could probably use a better one, probably fitness. And so there, you know what I mean? I'm just typing stuff out here. And so on. So throughout the conversation, these are different. I'm showing you how to use the hashtags. This is not how I'm going to put notes. What I usually do is I'm going to write the notes like I normally write notes or reminders or very important information. But what I'm going to do though is I'm going to, if I'm going to put wife, I'm going to put a hashtag in front of it. The reason why I'm going to do that is because I could pull from the search. So up here, if I put this stuff in, now watch, I'm going to save. And look at this right here, married, parent, she's a parent, has toddler, wife, fitness is important. If I look at this and I go, I type in fitness right into my search, and this is a demo account, it'll bring in, this is a demo account. I don't have the full information here, guys, but you'll be able right in here to be able to pull up the source that you're looking for, all the people that are going to be grouped up into that, if that makes sense. So you want to be able to, let's go back to my person. Let's go back to here. Okay. So what I want you to be able to do is just make sure, how do I go back into there? See that? That you put all the information in here and use like the hashtag groups. That's where you would get it. I don't have everything set up in here, but that's where you would find it, is when you search for the prospect. I just didn't feel like going through the next deeper screen. I have only 15 more minutes with you guys. So the takeaway is this. I am auditing like literally a ton of dealership CRMs. And when I look into them, they don't have any of this information. So I'm going to push something on pause for a second here. If there's anybody that wants me to go into theirs, let's go into this. I'm going to just show a real store for an example real quick. Just want to look at one of the informations on this. Okay, so watch this real quick. Okay, I'm just going to pick leads. Okay, and I want to be able to go in. You know what? Let's go into here. I'm just going to pick somebody. Hold on, not there. Sorry, guys. Let me go into here. I'm just going to pick somebody at random. So we're just going to go into. Okay, let's go into there. So I just picked a salesperson. I'm going to go into leads. And I'm going to, I just want to turn on and just pick just somebody at random. Okay, so let's just go into for contacted, right? Be back. There we go. So let's just go in here. All right. So if we're in here, if I pick somebody real quick in here, again, no notes in here, no spouse information, but the birthday's in here probably because the driver's license was probably scanned in here. And so if you take a look at that, there's no notes in here. That's it. That's all I wanted to show. That's my point. I just picked somebody totally at random, and I only wanted to just see in there. What you need to be able to do is if you go in, guys, and you do not bother to put the information in here, if you don't take the time when you have a prospect to qualify them the right way, you're not doing your job. NADA says the number one reason why people don't buy cars is because they're landed on the wrong car, which tells me as a trainer, they have not been qualified the right way. You have this tool right here. Okay, use this tool, put notes in here, put hashtags so you can find them, put information about preferred contact, which wasn't on there, that other person either, spouse information, this, that, and the other thing. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing I want you to know is, let me go back to here for a second. There's a whole nother additional information screen. Okay, look at all the other stuff that you could put in here. Not just the, this is like the current address, current employment, previous address, previous employment. This is good, not just to pull a credit app. Again, where did they work? This is field intelligence, employer. This gives you information, notes on this stuff, additional information. Doesn't have to just be for financing. This is what Vin puts there. But again, there's a reason why these fields are in Vin Solutions. The vast majority of people, I would say, again, 90% of sales consultants and dealerships don't utilize this the right way. It's fractional at best. Every single time that you engage a prospect, you should try to gather as much information as you can and put it in here. Now, why? Now, this is something that I talked about yesterday, but I want to repeat for this section here. One of the biggest parts of a salesperson's job, but nobody ever talks about this, is to become a CRM master themselves. So do you remember I just showed you this before? Okay, I showed you how do you get this in here in settings. So if you go into settings and you go to ILM CRM settings, all right? I go back. So if I'm in here and I go to ILM CRM settings, we're just talking about unsold showroom traffic here, right? You got to realize something. Showroom visit. See this? This right here, this one little thing is what the dealership, and it's a lot. This is what I'm going to continue talking about for the next 10, 15 minutes. This is a lot, but this is only generic stuff. There's nothing that individualizes the experience. Okay, I just noticed that the light was on. Sorry, guys. There's nothing that basically individualizes the experience in CRM follow-up and CRM protocol for the prospect. Okay, none of it. This is very important for you to understand. This is just generic stuff. It's follow-up, but it's not relationship stuff. That's the differentiator. Okay. It is you're following up and you're hoping that the salesperson understands what to do, how to do it, why to do it. But I'm training you now that what you need to be able to do is, in addition to whatever the CRM is programmed by your boss or by the dealership or the manager or the owner, the salesperson needs to additionally customize the CRM for their individual prospect. Okay. So we're going to talk about this again. How do you do that, right? How do you do that? So one of the ways is through the conversation. So your up sheet, your Foursquare, your phone up, the BDC, the internet, when you're talking to somebody on the phone, when you are communicating through email or text message, when you're doing any of that stuff, that's how you're able to ascertain information, how you're able to qualify your prospect. And this is how you're going to be able to build the puzzle. Okay. And again, folks, for me, I love Google Images because I'm going to Google Images right now. And this is perfect. I just pulled this out of random right here. So if I'm going to Google Images right here, right? If you look at that image right here, I mean, that's what a car deal is like. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it starts at a bunch of little pieces of the puzzle of how to try to get, that person to buy this vehicle. And in my opinion, when you put all the little puzzle pieces together, again, you'll be able to see clearly the answer, and so will the prospect. Do you follow what I'm saying? So again, the more that you qualify, the more that you understand, everything from what the use of the vehicle is going to be, who the drivers are, the decision makers, what kind of vehicle they're driving now, why, leasing, financing, colors, performance, do they have children, whatever it is, if that makes sense to you, those are like really important things that Again, sorry, I just kind of lost one of the feeds over here. So those things are really, really important in what you guys are going to need to be able to say to do and close. So let's just take a crazy situation here, and this is what CRM is great for. You know, if this was a live training, if I asked you this question, I already know the answer. So the question that I like to do in training is, how many of you sales professionals out there, after you find out that somebody bought a car, after you spend all this time in working them and, you know, investing in them, hunting for the vehicle, going back and forth on the lot, and you gave up a Saturday, and then they wound up telling you when you followed up with the phone call for feedback, oh, thank you, Sean, that's okay, but I purchased, the Lexus from somewhere else. You know what happens? So, like most salespeople, the vast majority of salespeople are silly. They're like, oh man, they get pissed, or they're like indifferent, like whatever it is, what it is. Not me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continually to follow up with that person. That's right, Sean Bradley. I'm going to continually to follow up with that person like that person bought a car for me. Why? Because the average salesperson sucks. How do I know? Because NADA says so. The average salesperson only sells 9.6 cars. And if you're that person listening to this, don't get offended. I'm short. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get offended when somebody says, Sean, you're short. I'm 5'5", right? If you sell 9.6 cars, that's not very good. It is what it is. So that's why you're on this webinar. You're going to learn skills to up your game. Now, compared to people like Frank Cornetti that sells 100 cars a month, or Ali Reda that sells 131 units a month, sold 202 units in December, a salesperson, yes. There are people selling 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 100 cars plus a month. So 9.6 is not that great. But don't worry about it. The good news is, the majority of the industry, hundreds of thousands of automotive sales professionals, are either mediocre or they suck. So you can become better because of how much everybody else sucks. Sean, what do you mean? Think about this. This is kind of cool. If most people suck at follow-up and most people don't use their CRM, don't you think they're going to drop the ball with post-sales follow-up? Of course they will. How do I know? Because I've got clients from NADA, from my 20 groups from all over the damn country that I do audits in, and I'm utterly shocked what their sold process is from when somebody buys a car. Some dealerships and some, dealer groups, publicly traded dealer groups, billion-dollar dealer groups, they stop calling the prospect after 60 days. Are you kidding me? And I'm not throwing shots at anybody. I'm just saying that's insane. But that process drop is your process opportunity. Why, Sean? Because a person that services their car is 7 times as likely at your dealership, is 7 times as likely to purchase from you. Okay, so let me repeat the NADA stat. NADA says that somebody that services their vehicle at a particular dealership are 7 times as likely to purchase their vehicle from that dealership. Fact 1. Fact 2 is that NADA also says that if somebody buys a vehicle today, even if it's one of your prospects that bought from your direct competitor, them too, someone else in their household will buy another vehicle within 90 days. Okay, will buy another vehicle within 90 days. So for me, if I'm a salesperson, I want to have an amazing dead deal process bought elsewhere. Even if my dealership doesn't, I want to turn around and create that for myself. Why? Because chances are that salesperson that actually sold them, your competitor, sucks, right? And it was just for whatever reason, they lowballed them or whatever it was, or, they bought from your competitor. So I would follow up with that person. Let's just use Lexus, especially it's Highline. I would say something like this. Hey, Karen, I just wanted to say congratulations on purchasing the RX L from XYZ Motors. Again, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity for coming to ABC Lexus. We appreciate it. As a matter of fact, as a token of my appreciation, I want to give you a free this, that, whatever, because I want to try to get them to my service department. And then that would be it. I don't want to ask for a referral. I don't want to do anything. I just want to deposit into, the prospect's emotional bank account. Then the next day, what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to, follow up and do my 24-hour call, just like if I sold the car. And whatever your sold process is, you want to follow it up and say, listen, hey, Karen, I know that you purchased a vehicle from another Lexus dealer, but listen, I'm a Lexus professional. I'm a product specialist. I'm a consultant. And if you had any questions about that Lexus, as far as any of the options, you know, the Bluetooth, the satellite radio, the remote start, any of that stuff, I'm here. Here's my cell phone. Matter of fact, if you get any problems whatsoever, I just want to let you know that I'm here. So what I'm doing is I'm depositing into the prospect's emotional bank account. So now that's a whole separate webinar. I just want to kind of share with you where my mind's at, why I'm having these details. So now think about this. Even though I did not get that person's, you know, business on the sale, that is technically a dead lead. However, what I want to do is I want to friend that person on Facebook. I want to follow them on Twitter. I want to follow them on Instagram. I want to connect with them on LinkedIn. I want to gather as much information as I can on social media, because even though I didn't sell them a car, if they're in my social media propaganda mechanism, which is going to be professional, they're going to keep seeing, like if we're friends on all these social platforms, hopefully they're going to see every time when I post anything positive about, you know, what I'm doing, what I, you know, the vehicles, my happy customers, this, that, and the other thing. But simultaneously, this is a play right out of Frank Crinity's playbook. Frank sells 30 units a month off of social media, off of Facebook alone, out of his 100 cars a month that he sells at Piazza Honda on the showroom floor, dead serious, comes from Facebook. What he does, he's constantly on social media, not just broadcasting and spamming, but building the relationship, liking people's stuff, you know, sharing, commenting, you know, adding real value, not surface value, fake value, you know, pretending to care, just like, or whatever. No, actually engaging with people, even people he didn't buy a car from him right there. Why? Because again, he's smart, professional. So again, the port for Vin Solutions is this. Even for dead customers, okay, that bought elsewhere, what you want to be able to do is gather the field intelligence and still put it into the contact information and then set it up. Now, here's the next piece that I'm going to go through. Okay, let's go back to the Karen's prospect. So watch this. If I go back to my leads, right? If I go back to my leads, and let's go back to Karen. So I put Karen up here. Let's just say Karen bought elsewhere, like the scenario that I'm doing here. Whether she bought elsewhere or she's just a prospect, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to the appointment button here. And this is something that's also kind of crazy. A lot of people don't realize this, but the appointments in VIN are not just for in-store meetings. They're for phone calls. They're for emails, they're for letter, they're for faxes, and they're for others. Other could be a co-video call. They could be video call or video text message. They could be for a BombBomb video, email, text message, build a brand video, text message, or for just like an Apple FaceTime or Skype or whatever it is. So now watch, if I do that, what do we learn? Karen's birthday is what? April 13th. So I could put a reminder here, or not even for myself though. You see this? April 13th, you know, wish Karen a happy birthday on the 13th, okay, of April. And at what time do I want this to happen? Let's just say at, you know, say 12 in the afternoon. And then how do I want to engage Karen? Well, I might send other. I might either, you know, either send an e-card or a video email or video text, you know, wishing happy birthday. And that's it. And then I click save right here. And now guess what? Check this out. See this right here? I got call, email, appointment, note, letter, text. Now when I go to my tasks, right? Now when I go to my tasks in here, check this out, okay? So I view all my tasks over here, right? So all my tasks are over here. It's gonna get buried, right? So look what I have though. I go to my appointments. So I click view all, and then you see that? I've got an appointment that's there on April 13th to basically, it says to wish Karen a happy birthday. I mean, that's really awesome. Now, can you imagine if I load those up for, if Karen told me that she celebrates a certain religion, let's just say that she celebrates, you know, like Christianity. So let's just say, you know, like she celebrates like Easter and Christmas and all the other Christian holidays. Well, then guess what? Isn't that awesome? All I've got to do is go into my appointment section. When I go into the prospect, all I've got to do is click an appointment, and I could send, you know, an appointment for emails, for text messages, for, you know, e-cards, for bombs, for code videos, for whatever the heck that I want to do. I could just do that right here. Now I'm loading these things up. Now, why would I do that? Now, here's why. Because if I'm a salesperson, right, and I come into my day, look at this. If I come into my day, I should not just have stuff that's buried in here that's generic, right? Because this is where all the generic stuff that comes in from the automation, from the action plans. First of all, what's really a top priority or hot priority? You know, you can't really tell. You have to go through each one of them. But if I have things that are over here, this is like an appointment board or a hot board, like a reminder board. And if I'm utilizing this to customize the experience, folks, this is really powerful, okay? This is customer relationship management. Put the R back into relationships, you know, in CRM. Put the R back into relationships for CRMs. Because again, I believe that most people don't use CRMs for customer relationship building. Relationship building has to do with, you know, personalization, customization, relationships, cultivating, nurturing, perpetuating relationships, right? So now, wouldn't it be awesome if I came into work? If I came into work and I logged in and my sheet right here, like this is like my activity plan. And this is where we're going to close on, guys. If I come into work today, you know, okay, here's all my fresh leads, if I have any. Here's all my replies where these people right here that emailed me back, or they replied to text messages or to, you know, like, again, like email templates, whatever it is. This is great. But then these are my follow-ups. These are just the ones that are triggering from the CRM. Okay. But wouldn't it be awesome to have additionally all the relationship stuff that you customize? Vin Solutions isn't psychic, people. You understand that? Vin Solutions is a software. It is as smart or as dumb as we are. Okay. And I don't mean that in an intellectual way. I'm saying dumb as in utilization way. So Vin is not going to be able to tell you when someone's kid's birthday is, or when someone's anniversary is, or not just the car anniversary. They could do that. And they could tell you the person's birthday, but they can't tell you any of that other stuff. I mean, I want to know everything about somebody's life, you know, again, especially all the positive stuff that's going on, you know. Again, let's just say my wife is a diehard Eagles fan. And so since she's a diehard Eagles fan to death, and this is a true story, even if I'm not a football fan, I'm an Eagles fan too, but even if I wasn't, I could go to Google and then put in the schedule for when the Eagles are going to play for 2019. And then what I would do as a salesperson is I would set reminders for the Eagle games, and especially for the home games. I'm in New Jersey on the border of Philadelphia in Audubon. I'm 15 minutes away from Philadelphia from my corporate office. So follow my logic on this, you know, and this is like big Philly Eagle fans are like kind of like crazy, you know what I mean? And so is Karen, crazy like that. So I could turn on and put a reminder in here, hey, you know, you definitely want to, you know, send Karen a text message, you know, for the wins, you know, obviously, or a meme. You can turn on and just go to Google, find, you know, Eagles crushed it, or if Eagles are playing the Cowboys, you know, and it's like, you know, the day before the Eagles Cowboy game, say, hey, good luck to the Birds, or go Birds. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's freaking awesome. Because when I go into a dealership, folks, and I see, you know, a salesperson's screen over here, it is practically empty for activities, for follow-up. There's very few salespeople that have like 100 and something activities. You see how mine even says, but I'm not a real salesperson, and this is just aggregating for my clients. But you see how it says 31? It's 10:21 in the morning on a Friday. How do I only have 30 follow-ups for an entire 8 or 12-hour day, and I got one appointment for a Saturday? Because I'm not using my freaking CRM. Do you see what I'm saying? And so if I have all these things, it doesn't mean that you have to do all those things. Because if I'm busy selling cars, no, I'm not sending a damn prospect a text message like, hey, go Birds. No, I'm not. But if I'm not doing shit, you know what I mean? I could build relationships. I could, nurture that relationships. I could turn around and acknowledge things that are important to that prospect, and damn sure for my clients that actually bought cars for me, and I earned a commission, and my family's able to eat off of the money that I earned from this person. Does that make sense? You can't fake caring about somebody. And so people are like, man, that sucks. Well, you're in the wrong business. That's like saying, you know what? I don't like to swim, but you're the lifeguard. I don't like the water. You know what I mean? Or, I can only swim in the shallow end. Then how are you a lifeguard if you can't go into the deep water? How are you an automotive sales professional if you're not going to go into the deep water of CRM? You got to go scuba diving, baby. You got to go scuba diving. That was my scuba diving thing right there. You've got to go deep, immerse yourself into the CRM. Man, do you see what I just taught you? I've been talking, I didn't even get through my one section here on this webinar, but I'm giving you training, not timeshare stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Like all these people, it's like, you can feel this. No, I'm telling you exactly what to do and how to do it. Now, so let's go back in here because I'm in overtime now and I respect everybody's time. I got another client call that I got to do, but man, isn't that crazy? I only got into a couple things right here, but at least you understand why it's important to actually go and find their information, birthdays, anniversaries, this type of stuff, that type of stuff. And, make sure, the email has been sent out. This is a manager thing right here. Okay. So the manager basically should be following up with the salesperson, making sure that's in there. And then it's going to be consistent follow-up. But if you look at this, here's what I'm going to say, because I'm going to transition to some video stuff for you guys. All right. If you take a look at all this, right, look at how far you should follow up with a prospect. I don't dead a prospect for up to 4 months, but let me be clear. So I'm not going to piss anybody off. This right here only triggers, folks, this only triggers in Vin Solutions if there's no contact. That means if a prospect comes into the dealership and they don't buy a car, all these activities are going to trigger on a daily basis, daily, weekly, monthly basis, whatever. And only if they never, ever, ever, after you leave the dealership, only if they never, ever email you back, text you back, call you back, answer the phone when you call, or any of that stuff, does all this go. The second that this happens, watch what you're supposed to do. This has got to stop. And now it's going to go into the custom process. And the custom process is going to be, for salespeople, 31 days, contact. You see this? It's going to be on a case-by-case basis. So basically, depending on what happened in that conversation. So again, let me make this clear. If a prospect, right? Let me just get down here for a second here. If a prospect comes into the dealership and they don't buy a car and it's a standard be-back protocol, that's great. But you got to understand something though, and this is really, really important. You should have two different protocols. One should be the ongoing follow-up, okay? The ongoing follow-up, that's one protocol. But another protocol is the engagement protocol. This salespeople is a big, big, important thing. And I'm going through this with some of my own Dealer Synergy clients that are highly trained. So if you're not even a Dealer Synergy client, then I feel bad for you, because even with training, this is sometimes a little bit difficult because it has to do with execution. Most people use Vin Solutions and other CRMs the incorrect way or the redundant way. Now, before I tell you what that is, I'm going to source you from, there's a book, From Good to Great, okay? So please understand me. There's a book, from Jim Collins called Good to Great, not From Good to Great. There's a book called From Good to Great from Jim Collins, and it's a very powerful book. And what they say is this: don't turn around and tell people like you're working for, you know what I mean? Don't create rules for people for good performers, right? For high level people that you have in place for the stupid people, okay? Because there are unfortunately stupid people, and I'm not talking about like lack of intelligence or aptitude. I'm talking about just assholes that don't want to work, that are just, they take the lifeblood, they waste air and oxygen. And unfortunately, there's good and bad in everything, on the showroom floor, in management, in other industries, lawyers, doctors. I mean, you're just human beings. There's different classifications of human beings. But the problem is that as a business owner, I really respected that saying in the book, because if you think about this, if I'm going to have a company and I've got rules in my company or in my dealership or in my department, and I have such stupid rules and I have things set up such a micromanaged way because I have no choice because I've got stupid people, it's going to offend or annoy the smart people and the hardworking people. And so unfortunately, when I talk to Vin Solutions, I talk to, other CRM companies, Dealerstock and eLeads, a lot of the things they put in there is because they don't trust salespeople to do their jobs the right way. Salespeople are not going to, do this. Salespeople are not going to do that. And you know what? They're right for most of them. That's why most salespeople suck. That's why most people are average or below average in the industry. And you might not like me saying that, but I'm not lying. Go to the National Automobile Dealer Association. They might sugarcoat it, but shit is shit, And so I'm telling you that you don't want to set up your CRM stupidly, because that's why there's all these overdue activities and tasks and stuff in Vin Solutions. That's why there's, not enough follow-up for your prospects because it's not set up the right way. So if you set it up the right way, here's the punchline. The right way is this. You need to have two separate strategies, completely two separate strategies. One is the follow-up, and that's that long, methodical, it took me 5+ hours to write that one thing out for that action plan, that process for unsold showroom traffic. However, in my professional opinion, if somebody comes into the dealership and they leave as a B-back, they're in that B-back protocol. But if I engage them, because they've answered the phone, or they called me, or they've responded to my voicemail, or they text me back, or they email me back, that entire automation stops. And now there's nothing. So we don't put any monkey processes or stupid processes in there, because I respect my clients, and I respect they have intelligence, and with proper training, they should be able to schedule the next action. Think about this. Let's just say I talked to Karen, she was in the B-back protocol. 3 days later on the RX, she called me back. So I'm in a conversation with her. Think about it. She said something to me in that conversation. So depending on what was said should be the only thing that is the next action. She might say, hey, Sean, listen, I'm sorry I wasn't able to talk to you the last couple of days. I just been really busy. I love the vehicle, and I can't even talk right now, but I just wanted to just let you know that I'm still interested. Do me a favor, call me tomorrow at 12 o'clock, or call me on Monday, which is today's Friday. Call me on Monday at 12 in the afternoon. Think about that for a second. It's Friday. So why do I need the B-back action plan and task to fire? I mean, they're stupid, because God willing, who knows what the hell automation, the genius that set it up, put it out. It might be redundant if I just spoke to that person. So why have the automation? Because we can't trust our salespeople to put the next action. Oh my gosh, I can't trust my, look, come on. I can't trust somebody to look both ways before you cross the street. That's how basic that shit is. And I'm sorry, but it is. If I'm a salesperson in a multi-million-dollar company, you don't work at a bagel shop, you work at a car dealership. So I don't care if you're an independent car dealership, you are selling expensive items. If you cannot have the common sense and the basic discipline that after you talk to somebody, you put notes in a computer and then you schedule the next action, you just post the next activity that you're supposed to do, then God help you. And then what's even worse is the managers say, I can't get my salespeople to do that. Then stop it. You don't have a CRM problem. You got a management problem. That's a separate webinar. Okay? Because if managers cannot hold your salespeople accountable, they need different managers, or they need management training. When the hell, and this is Tony Ann says, it's Tony Ann Fordette. I love her. That's my partner, one of my very good friends, the $1 billion girl. She ran a $1.1 billion dealer group, the Atlantic Auto Group's entire business development. She had 19 internet directors under her, 95 BDC reps, and they sold 2,600 units a month, right, in New York. So they keep it gully out there. Guess what? She loves to say, the automotive industry is the only industry that your job description is optional. I'm going to repeat that. Your job description is optional. Why? And so if your job description is to fill this shit out and then schedule the next action, why is it like, oh my God, I can't get people to fill out the thing? Stop. No, you're weak as a manager. No disrespect. It is what it is. Or you don't value the CRM that much. Because if you valued your CRM that much and you weren't a weak manager, you would be able to hold your salespeople accountable. Again, why chase them? Replace them. Okay, that's it. A very famous person said that, Biggie Smalls. I don't chase them, I replace them. And I'm not being rude, I'm being real here. If you train them the right way first, let me just say that I don't just replace people for no reason. First thing is first is that I'm going to set up the CRM the right way. I'm going to train them. I'm going to make sure that they're trained. How do I do that? Because I make sure by giving them a test, like a to-do test, like right here. Let's say you guys were my clients or my sales team. All right, guys, you went through the Vin Solutions training from Vin Corporate, right? Yes. Okay, you went through the Dealer Synergy and Bradley Demand Vin Solutions training. Yes. Okay, great. Well, I've got a test that I'm going to give you right now. Come in my office, and what I want you to do is sit down here, and we're going to log on to Vin right now. And I want you to show me how you log a customer. I'm going to show you how you do an appointment. And I have a whole hot sheet of these things that I have, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to inspect what I expect. And then I'm going to have them sign a commitment. I have a form that says, I have been trained on Vin Solutions. I have been tested on Vin Solutions. I have passed my test on Vin Solutions. I know how to use Vin Solutions. I also acknowledge that if I don't use Vin Solutions, it's because I chose not to, and I accept whatever the dealership will do as far as consequences. Okay, now, what's the problem there? So if we train them the right way, we've inspected the training, we've got them to acknowledge it in writing and sign a CRM commitment, and then it's on them. If they don't do it, hold them accountable, whatever HR is. I'm not saying you just blow them out the first time, so don't freak out. What I'm saying is you bring them in and say, hey, Sean, what did you do? You know, it's like, and I bring out my sheet. You said, you know, Vin, oh, I'm sorry. And people make mistakes, so that's not what I'm talking about. But if you got the habitual person that just doesn't give a fuck, right? Those people are going to turn around and not going to care. Then you're going to then some sales managers make excuses. Well, I need salespeople on the floor and I need to do it. Okay, then don't blame your CRM where your CRM's like shit. And I don't blame why you're not selling a lot of cars, because you settle for mediocrity. You rationalize and you bargain. Well, at least a body is better than nobody. I disagree, you know? And then so I need coverage. Then get off the desk, off the ivory tower and take it up. I'm just being honest, you know? And so that's what I feel. Because if you don't stop the craziness, and you don't turn around and commit to CRM excellence, it's never going to change. Never. I've been doing this for 20 straight years. 90% of dealerships CRMs are not set up the right way and or not utilized the right way. Psst, this is a Vin Solutions webinar. Vin Solutions has almost 6,000 dealers. Do you know what they estimate the utilization of their actual tool? 30% is max. I think that's high, you know, myself, but that's coming from senior executives in Vin Solutions. 30%. Can you imagine that? 30% utilization of their tool. Holy crap. So again, my point being here is that salespeople need to use the tool, and that's what this entire webinar was about, but management needs to be able to set up the tool the right way, give the salesperson the proper training, and Vin Solutions doesn't do any of this training, okay? They don't. Vin Solutions and every other CRM company trains you on how to use their tool, how to set it up, customize it, flow inside of the buttons, but they don't teach you on psychology, strategy, process, none of that stuff, okay? So you've got to be able to get it somehow. So hopefully you got a lot of knowledge from this free webinar and this live stream from the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. All right, folks, I'm going to open it up to questions, and I'm also streaming on YouTube. So if you've got any questions, just let me know. If you're on the actual webinar, there is a Q&A button right there. And there's also a chat feature. And if you're in the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, you could post any questions that are here. I'm going to keep it open for about a minute or so. If there's no questions, then I'm going to end it because this is an hour webinar. And so, yeah, I don't have any questions right now. I got some cool comments from Bill. Thank you, Bill, with accountability. All right. So now this is like a message for my clients, for Dealer Synergy clients. I have a closed webinar today at 3 to 4 p.m. So from 3 to 4 p.m., it's going to be for showroom sales, but it's going to be different than this one because I'm going to go actually through the entire time and actual dealer clients, their real salespeople, real situations, and go deeper. So this is like what I could do generically because I don't have for privacy rules and all that other stuff. But for the client one that we're doing from between 3 and 4 today, make sure that you're on top of that. All right, guys, if you like this, do me a favor, comment on YouTube, on the live stream on YouTube, comment on YouTube. If you like this webinar, if you got some education out of it, you got some good nuggets. Please, if you like this on the Facebook Live, comment, like it, whatever. And thank you very much. See you next time. I know.